A very good evening and welcome to this Sunday's edition of News First Weekend, coming to you live from our News First studios in Colombo. I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka. Let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
One dead in an excavation accident at the Kaluganga project in Lanka. Individual trapped under the rocks and rescued after an 8-hour operation dies following admission to hospital. Suspect dies while in the custody of the Paliguda police. 5 police officers arrested. Details of an attempt to cover up the bond scam. Suryawewa International Cricket Stadium built at the cost of billions, now a white elephant.
And now the stories in detail. An 8-hour operation to rescue a man who was trapped between rocks following a rock slide during excavations for the Kaluganga water project ended in tragedy after the victim passed away in hospital. 2 men were initially hospitalized while 1 individual was killed at the scene of the accident.
The incident occurred at about 8 a.m. today when rocks that had been removed from the construction site of the Kaluganga water project parallel to the Moragahakanda project were being loaded onto a lorry. A technician who had been repairing a faulty backhoe was trapped under the rocks. 1 person was killed at the scene of the accident while 2 men were hospitalized. The rescue operation to save the technician trapped in the backhoe commenced this morning. The rock slide caused large mounds of earth and large boulders to crash down on this site. A technician who was repairing one of the machines was trapped under the rocks and earth, and a rescue operation was undertaken immediately afterwards. 4 Sri Lanka Army commando teams, including a team led by Major General Shavendra Silva, were deployed for the rescue operation. SLAF spokesperson Group Captain Gihan Seneviratne said an Mi-17 helicopter carrying the commando teams was dispatched from Ganemulla to Laggala this morning. Army spokesperson Brigadier Roshan Seneviratne said the team comprised of 30 commandos. Our correspondent noted that the rescue teams were assisted by the police and workers at the site of the project. Medical teams were also called in and steps were taken to artificially provide air for the trapped technician. MMSP Malwatta was pulled out from underneath the rocks and earth following an 8-hour rescue operation, but the exhilaration was short-lived. The technician passed away earlier this evening while receiving treatment in hospital.
5 police officers attached to the Paliguda police were arrested today following the death of a suspect in their custody. Police media spokesperson DIG Priyantha Chaikudi said 4 constables and a sub-inspector were taken into custody today.
"42-year-old Chadik Shyaman Vikramarachi was a resident of Raggahavatta in Biyagama who drove vehicles for hire for a living. He was a father to a 7-year-old son and a 1-month-old daughter. A group of police officers had come to Chadik's mother's residence last night, claiming that they wished to take Chadik to the police station to record a statement as he was in possession of a weapon. When they were told that Chadik was not at home, the policemen had gone to the neighbouring house, which was Chadik's, and had taken him to the Paliguda police station in a vehicle.
They had gone to that house, and when they knocked, the lady there had not opened the door. She had said that they were alone and therefore they would not open the door, and asked who they were. She had said she would call 119 and they told her to go ahead. Just as she turned away from the door to pick up the phone, they had crashed in through the back door. They had asked if Chadi was at home, and he rose and said he was Chadi. When he asked them who they were and what they wanted, they said they were from the Paliguda unit and they need to record a statement from him. They asked him to step out and took him away.
When the family had prepared to go to the Paliguda police station the next morning, a family friend had informed them that Chadik was not at the police station. Family members were informed through another friend that Chadik had been taken to the Colombo National Hospital. Eventually, Chadik's body was recovered at the police mortuary in Colombo.
One of Chadik's friends came home and said this had happened. We came here by 9:30 a.m. They handed over the body on a tray in the room. He was covered in sand. There was sand all over the body. He did not even have a shirt on. They said a name had not been given either and that he was handed over after having a seizure.
They took him away to record a statement and they have done this to him. His body was covered in sand. Did they record a statement at a place where there was sand? They have beaten him and tortured him. Why would they do this? My 2 children have been left without a father. My 1-month-old baby has no father. They said open the door or we will break it down. They said Chadik's name and he said, "Sir, I have done nothing wrong, so I will open the door." Just as he was opening the door, 2 of them crashed in through the back door. He was already dead when they took him to the hospital. They killed him and then took him to the hospital.
DIG Priyantha Jayakodi said the suspect had fallen ill while in police custody and that he had then been taken to hospital where he had passed away. DIG Jayakodi added that he was arrested following information provided in a statement from another suspect arrested in connection with several robberies. Nevertheless, IGP Pujit Jayasundara ordered this afternoon that an investigation be held immediately into the death of the suspect while in police custody. This incident is not the first of its kind. In September last year, 30-year-old Kaviraj Ravichandran died while in the custody of the Pusellava police. A few days later, Law and Order Minister Sagala Ratnayaka stated in Parliament that CCTV cameras would be affixed at police stations. I have issued an order to look into the legal background to affix CCTV cameras in the holding cells of all police stations and to prepare the plans and secure funding for the same. Has the Law and Order Minister's statement last September on affixing CCTV cameras in holding cells been put into action? Who should be held accountable for these deaths?
A walk organized to mark National Stroke Day was held in Colombo this morning. The event was also attended by President Maithripala Sirisena.
The National Stroke Walk was organized by the National Stroke Association of Sri Lanka with the objective of creating awareness on strokes among the people. A stroke is a medical emergency which is caused when blood flow to the brain stops, making it the second leading cause of death in the world. The theme for the event this year was Bringing Light to Darkness. We must keep in mind the message as to how strokes can be prevented. We must constantly understand and remember the word stroke and how it is caused, smoking and consumption of alcohol. So everyone in this country is aware of the deadly consequences of cigarettes and various other drugs. But the problem is, being aware of the consequences alone is not enough. Not taking any action to prevent it is the issue. So it is essential that the general public takes it upon themselves to prevent this disease from the society. Meanwhile, President Maithripala Sirisena also attended a ceremony today to mark the 63rd death anniversary of the late H. Sri Nisanka, a Ceylonese lawyer and statesman. The event, which was held at the Sri Yamuna Sadaham Aramaya in Colombo, commemorated late H. Sri Nisanka, who played an important role to form the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. A group including Minister Susil Premajayantha, Western Province Chief Minister Isura Devapriya and Parliamentarian Dinesh Gunawardena were present for the occasion. What are the issues we are facing in today's context? What are the key issues we have to face to take this country forward? We must teach the children of this country of personalities such as H. Sri Nisanka. When we speak of everyone who contributed during various eras of our history, their personalities, dedication and commitment was so exceptional that they only focused on their motherland, unlike the modern-day politicians whose only intention is to earn wealth, swindle sacks of money, take ownership of state property and wealth and misuse the country's treasury. They only care of working to their own agendas while disregarding the country and its people. Why has the country deteriorated in this way? SWRD Bandaranaike was someone who played a key role to end the racist struggle in the country back then. If SWRD Bandaranaike had allowed for the Chelvanayagam Pact to be signed, allowed Dudley Senanaike to create the Chelvanayagam Pact, there never would have been a Prabhakaran in the country as far as I know.
On to another one of our headline-making stories. The Finance Ministry says that an extraordinary gazette notice issued in January 2015 pertaining to the controversial issuing of treasury bonds shows how public debts was fraudulently managed under the Mahinda Rajapaksa regime. The ministry made this claim in a statement issued today clarifying matters pertaining to the gazette notification in question. However, detracting opinions are already being presented on the matter.
The statement issued today says that the Finance Minister is in receipt of Extraordinary Gazette Notification number 1895/19 dated the 1st of January 2015 and issued by then Finance Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, which does not have the signature of the competent authority. It reads further that this gazette, which was revealed during evidence given by the Secretary to the Ministry of Finance on the 23rd of February to the Presidential Commission of Inquiry on Treasury Bond Issuances, is a unique example of relevance of fraudulent management of public debt by Mahinda Rajapaksa, Ajit Niwad Cabral and his fellows in the Central Bank in violation of laws. The ministry says that this gazette contains authorization given to raise loans during the year 2015 through issuance of 31 treasury bonds of different redemption periods at different interest rates at auctions as notified by the Registrar of Public Debt through newspapers. The statement also says that the required protocol had not been followed when issuing this gazette. It reads that instead of following the procedure required when a gazette notification is issued by a minister, the superintendent of the Public Debt Department had directly sent it to the government printer after getting legal clearance from the central bank lawyers. The statement also says that information is available that the gazette dated the 1st of January 2016 to be published by the name of Finance Minister Ravi Karunanayake for the year 2016 has already been sent to the government printer the same way in 2017. The ministry adds that the publication of this gazette was immediately withheld. The Finance Ministry says that as such all treasury bonds have been issued in violation of the provisions of the Registered Stocks and Securities Ordinance. Furthermore, the statement reads that a full report will be issued to the media after investigations and that corrective actions will be taken immediately. The statement concludes that appropriate legal actions will be taken against those errant officers under the provisions of the Registered Stocks and Securities Ordinance. This statement is a biased and baseless statement which has been issued disregarding the prevailing rules and regulations for ulterior motives. Ever since the information on the bond scam was made public, when we look at how the officials and the politicians concerned have acted, we see that they are acting to suppress the issue, thinking they can get away with it because of the public's lack of knowledge on the subject matter. They believe that the people are fools, that they do not know anything about bonds and therefore they can say anything and get away with it. But they have failed. Thanks to the media and civil society forces, the public are becoming increasingly aware of this issue and they will continue to remain vigilant. Therefore, they cannot use such strategies to suppress this fraud.
මේකට මට කියන්න තියෙන එකම දේ තමයි අර කෝට්ටේ රජ සමයේ අරිත්ත කීවෙන්ඩු කියලා උපදේශකයෙක් ඉඳලා ඒ රජුරවන්ට උපදේශ දීලා ඒ උපදේශ ඔක්කොම වැරදි ගියාම රජුරවන්ටයි එක්ක රජුරෝ එක්ක මම එක්ක ගංගාව කියලා රාජා හෝ මා හෝ ගංගාව හෝ කියලා ගඟට පනින යාගයක් කෙරුවා. අන්නේ යාගය කරනවා වගේ තමයි මේ දැන් ආණ්ඩුව කටයුතු කරන්නේ. බොන්ඩ් ඉෂුව එකේදී Malik
Samaravikrama sat in on the meeting on the bond issuance. Malik Samaravikrama has no connection to the bond process. So we have a major question regarding the capacity in which Malik Samaravikrama participated in that meeting. So we say to the government, rather than inquiring into the fraud and corruption of the previous regime, if they do not catch the 2 or 3 rogues in the current government, this government cannot continue. It will not be sustainable. We also say to the President, you have been patient long enough. You must immediately act to bring the government onto the correct path. We want to bring this government onto the correct path. This is a promise you made to the people. Good governance. The people are expecting this to be implemented. The people are expecting the President to act to ensure there is an environment where all people in this country can live as law-abiding citizens.
Attempts made to disrupt the investigations that are being held into the controversial bond issuances of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. A COPE committee appointed once again to investigate the bond issue. Footnotes placed by several members of COPE resulting in the verdict being divided. Auditor General issues report on the controversial bond scam. Letters addressed to intimidate the Auditor General. Salary of the Auditor General not revised. President appoints a Presidential Commission of Inquiry to investigate and inquire into the issuance of treasury bonds. Attempts made to deviate the investigations of the said commission based on a gazette notification issued on the 1st of January 2015. The people of this country comprehend the efforts of certain individuals to acquit themselves from the shameful crime of looting the people's money.
The Kalutara District Youth Balamandala meeting of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party was held today.
The meeting was held under the patronage of Ministers Mahinda Samarasinghe and Duminda Disanayake. We are ready for the 2020 parliamentary elections. We are also ready for a parliamentary election without a presidency following a changing constitution in 2020 and if the powers are vested in parliament. By any chance, if we are once again going in for a presidential election under the same presidential system due to a public referendum, as a party, we must ready ourselves for that as well. In that case, the best candidate would be Maithripala Sirisena, who is a person who did something for the party, the true SLFPer who steered the party back onto the right path and who guided the party with its true principles. It is our view that he should be our candidate. I would like to propose that we all join hands to take our motherland to a better place by fulfilling our political intentions. At the same time, I am very proud to have been able to bring free vocational training and education to a certain standard. I am proud to say that NVQ3 and NVQ4 can now be made equivalent to O-levels. We have forwarded the cabinet paper for this effect and approval has been obtained. Even a circular of the public administration sector has been issued. This year we have initiated technical universities to those who do not wish to go to traditional universities, where students could enter these universities based on their EZ scores. All of you are aware that there are more employment opportunities if you have a degree on engineering or from the technical side rather than obtaining a BA.
At a media briefing convened today, the People Power Against Corruption organisation claimed that millions of rupees have been defrauded through the construction of the Janajaya city complex undertaken by the Kotte Municipal Council.
This project was planned following a proposal at the general meeting to utilize the land adjacent to the Valikada Library in Rajagiriya. Initially, the Kotte Municipal Council was to build a 28-storey building under the proposal put forward to the general meeting. What is astounding here is that no feasibility study whatsoever was carried out for the project. There was no feasibility report. A sum of 20 million rupees was withdrawn initially together with the Arcadium company. It all went wrong once the proposal was put to the NBRO. The NBRO said a 28-storey building cannot be built on this land. It was then decided to construct an 11-storey building instead. When it was decided to build the 11-storey building, funds had already been allocated for a 28-storey building. Even when it was reduced to 11 stories, the Arcadium company charged 156 million rupees for it. The mayor stole another 5.6 million rupees together with the Arcadium company. Meanwhile, the former mayor of Kotte, Janaka Ranawaka, convened a media briefing this morning to respond to the accusation that funds had been defrauded through this project. A decision was taken at the general meeting following procedure. A tender notice was published in the newspapers 21 days beforehand. We undertook this development project following the proper tender procedure and all other procedures. Are the people of this country fools? Are we fools? Are all the officials at the municipal council fools to pay for 28 stories when it was reduced to 21? This was a successful project. When people who have no understanding of the subject whatsoever look at this with anger, jealousy and hatred, they may see it that way.
The lecture on Bhagavad Gita by Sunandaji, a daughter disciple of Swami Parthasarathi, was held yesterday.
The session held at the Buddhist Cultural Center focused on the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Its key speaker, Sunandaji, has been studying and researching Veda, the ancient philosophy that originated from India.
There are people who would love their country but hate other countries. There are people who love their religion but hate all other religions. They would die for their country, but not any other country. No other countryman would interest them. So there are grades and grades. So as long as you identify with whatever ideal you have, anything beyond that, you don't care, because you're not able to accommodate the interests of anything beyond your chosen circle of interest. That all masters were saying the same thing, but the communication was done at different times to different sets of people. So you find the message of these masters could vary. Sometimes they could be even conflicting. Now it could confuse one. So who's right? These masters, the different religions that came about, were nothing but prescriptions for a collective lot of people who needed that particular message.
What is the current state of the Suryavava International Cricket Stadium in Hambantota? This is a News First special report.
Construction on the Suryavava International Cricket Stadium in Hambantota was concluded in 2011 ahead of the Cricket World Cup, which was co-hosted by Sri Lanka. The stadium, built at a cost of 4.2 billion rupees, was named the Mahinda Rajapaksa International Cricket Stadium. The stadium, which was built with floodlights to enable day-night matches, has a seating capacity of 35,000. While no test matches have been played at Suryavava, the stadium has hosted 17 ODIs and 7 T20 matches since it was built. The last time an ODI was played at the stadium was a year and 7 months ago. What is the current state of this giant project constructed at great cost to the public?
We see this stadium falling into ruin day by day. The authorities have not taken any steps to maintain this after 2013.
These images bear testament that while sports ministers and SLC executive committees have come and gone, the Suryavava Stadium remains a loss-making white elephant.
There are no matches here.
They do not maintain this anymore. Don't let this get destroyed. We request you to renovate this place.
Due to the lack of proper maintenance, international fixtures, management weaknesses and weak administration, the Suryavava International Cricket Stadium, built at a cost of billions of rupees, is falling into ruin with each passing day. Why do the authorities continue to neglect this stadium?
On to the rugby field now, where the Inter-Club League champions Kandy SC claimed a double today with victory in the Clifford's Cup. The Candians defeated Havelocks SC 32-20 in the final held this evening in Nithawela.
Kandy dominated play in the first half of the game in Nithawela today, with the scoreline reading 24-3 in their favour at Lemons. The Park Club got into action in the second half, adding on 17 points to Kandy's 8, but it was too little too late for them. Tensions flared between fans of both teams immediately after the final whistle.
A foundation stone was laid for yet another drinking water project today under the second phase of the government 100-day initiative.
The foundation stone for this project was laid in the Kudagama in Rambayava, Anuradhapura. The drinking water project will provide relief to several families who have been suffering with kidney diseases caused by the lack of clean drinking water for many years. Businessman Sudha Tennakon provided financial aid for this project in view of his son's 25th birthday. MDS Pereira and Lalanin Pereira also made financial contributions for the project.
I am extremely grateful that as a media organization, rather than finding fault with governments and politicians, you have displayed a commitment beyond the role of the media to come to these remote places amid many hardships and undertake these services for the people.
Well, before we wrap up, here's a look at the stories that we followed here at News First. One dead in an excavation accident at the Kaluganga project in Lagala, Mathale. Individual trapped under the rocks and rescue after 8 hours. Operations die following admissions to hospital. Suspect dies while in custody of the Palligada police. 5 police officers arrested. Details of an attempt to cover up the bond scam. And Suryavava International Cricket Stadium, built at the cost of billions, now a wild elephant. You can log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk for more details. And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Weekend Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Arundhati Mudannaika. Good night.